Hello everyone. Iceland is an island nation located at the intersection of the North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. The country is completely surrounded by water, with a coastline of more than 4,800 kilometers, and its main island located entirely south of the Arctic Circle. The area of Iceland is 103,000 square kilometers, while the population is 372,520 people, equivalent to 3.68 people per square kilometer, making it the third most sparsely populated country in the world. And because of the continuous geological activity between North America and Europe, Iceland is a land of climatic and geographical contrasts. It's also known as the strangest country in the world, with interesting facts that you've never heard. Today, let's explore the interesting things of Iceland in this video. Land of fire and ice. The name Iceland has also expressed its geographical characteristics, including impressive glaciers. According to estimates, the island nation currently has about 11% of its territory covered by glaciers, with a total area of 11,330 square kilometers. These include the three largest glaciers. Vatnajökull River is 7,900 square kilometers, Langjökull River is 953 square kilometers wide, and Hofsjökull River is 925 square kilometers wide. But due to climate change, Iceland's glaciers are melting at a faster rate than they can recover in the winter, contributing to rising sea levels. According to statistics from the Icelandic Meteorological Agency in 2017, of the 300 named glaciers in the country, 56 have completely disappeared. Every time a glacier disappears, indigenous people hold a special funeral for it, as a way to commemorate the benefits that the river has brought to the people. In addition to retaining water, glaciers also create some impressive wonders, including swamps, waterfalls, and especially pure ice caves like crystal. Currently, Iceland's Vatnajökull Glacier is the largest glacier in Europe and the third largest in the world. Hidden under this river is a cave of the same name and is known as the largest natural ice cave in Iceland, with a depth of more than 100 meters, surrounded by rippling ice walls. Vatnajökull is also an attractive tourist destination, making anyone who sets foot in it overwhelmed by the cold and its magical beauty. Although there are so many glaciers, but because it's located on the Atlantic volcanic belt, Iceland is also one of the most geologically active places in the world, with a lot of volcanoes, hot springs, and huge nuclear power sources. Therefore, it's also known as the land of fire and ice, and was chosen to make the natural film set of many blockbuster movies, such as God of Thunder 2 and Star Wars. There are currently about 200 volcanoes in Iceland, and most of them are still active. Iceland's highest point is the mountain peak Vatnajökull, which has an altitude of 2,110 meters above sea level. Iceland's volcanoes not only provide an abundant electricity at very low cost, but also provide fertile basalt for agricultural activities. However, the people here also have to get used to volcanic eruption and can cause a lot of damage to the island. For example, the eruption of Laki volcano in 1783. This is considered one of the most terrible volcanic disasters in human history. It spewed lava and toxic gases for 8 months, directly leading to the deaths of more than 50% of Iceland's population at the time. The Laki eruption and its aftermath also caused drop in global temperatures. 120 million tons of sulfur dioxide were sprayed into the northern hemisphere, causing crop failures in Europe, as well as droughts in North Africa. Countries with strange natural phenomena. Because of its proximity to the Arctic Circle, Iceland has a cold, temperate, oceanic climate. But because it's located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the climate here is warmer than other places at the same latitude. This is partly due to the Gulf Stream that runs along the southwest and south, carrying warmth from the Caribbean Sea. The mixture of the temperate air of the Atlantic Ocean with the cold air of the Arctic also causes sudden weather changes in this land. In winter, the lowlands in the south of the island have an average temperature of 0 degrees Celsius. While the average temperature in the north is around -10 degrees Celsius, the Central Plateau region is extremely cold, with the lowest temperature ever recorded at -38 degrees Celsius. Snow usually falls from October to April next year, but the heaviest falls in December and January. Winter is the ideal time to see the aurora borealis in Iceland, especially from November to March, because during this time, the nights is usually longer than the days. The best places to enjoy the northern lights in the sky are the suburbs of Reykjavik, which is known for its colorful houses, unique architecture, and vibrant nightlife. Celebrate day without night. In summer, Iceland's climate is much cooler, with an average temperature around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. This is also the time when the day longer than the night. Even between mid and late June, the sun shines for about 20 to 24 hours a day. This phenomenon is often called the midnight sun. It paints an incredible picture in the night sky of this remote island nation. This is also the pride of Icelanders, and they consider it an invaluable gift of nature. In those days, all people here will stay up until the next morning to have fun and organize folk festivals of the nation. There is the Jens Mess Festival, also known as Midnight, usually held on June 24 every year, when the sun doesn't set for 24 hours. According to local culture, this night is said to be one of the most magical nights in Iceland. It can make cows talk, and seals become people. They also celebrate it in a very special way, taking off all their clothes and rolling themselves on the dew-covered grasses, with a desire to get rid of all the diseases in their bodies. Paradise for women. For more than a decade, Iceland has topped the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index rankings, based on health, education, economics, and politics. Therefore, Icelandic women currently living in the most equal environment on the planet. In 2018, up to 88% of working-age women in the country were employed. 65% of young people studying college were female, and 41% of National Assembly representatives were women. Iceland was the first country with a female president elected in 1980. She is Vigdis Finnbogadóttir. This is also the country's first openly gay female government leader, Jóhanna Sigurdardóttir, who was elected prime minister in 2009. Although currently the average salary of women is still lower than that of men, but the wage gap between women and men here is currently decreasing and is expected to reach parity by 2068. This country has a lot of laws to protect women. For example, in 2009, Iceland was the first country to ban strip clubs for feminist reasons. They emphasized that it's never acceptable for women to be treated as a product to be sold. In addition, after the shocking corruption and financial collapse in 2008, the government made efforts to bring more women into positions of power in companies. Specifically, this country's law requires that a business's board of directors must have at least 40% female. In addition, Iceland also allows fathers to take paid leave under their wives' maternity regime to share housework and take care of children with the woman, simultaneous to ensure that all children in Iceland will grow up with equal care from both parents. The country has no mosquitoes. Everyone knows that. Mosquitoes are one of the most dangerous creatures on Earth. It causes many contagious diseases and also responsible for the deaths of about 830,000 people each year in Africa, South America, Central America, Mexico, and much of Asia. Mosquitoes are adapted to many different environments, even in Antarctica, which is the coldest place in the world. But Iceland does not, and this is the only country in the world that claims to be mosquito-free, while this insect still appears in neighboring lands, such as Norway or Denmark. The reason given by the researchers is because Iceland has no shallow pond, so mosquitoes don't have a place to lay eggs to create larvae. Besides, Iceland also freezes completely 3 times a year, and the climate changes constantly. Winter here can be cold, but it can also easily warm up suddenly, causing the ice to melt, then reduce the temperature immediately after. This makes it impossible for mosquitoes to complete their life cycle and reproduce. Interestingly, Iceland still has a mosquito on display at the National Museum of Natural History. It was caught by biologist Gisli Mar Gislason on a plane departing from Greenland to Iceland. Therefore, if you go to Iceland and want to see mosquitoes, all you can do is go to a museum. The country impresses with its incest prevention app. Of the 380,000 people living in Iceland, about 320,000 live in the capital Reykjavik and surrounding areas. With a small population concentrated in a small space, and also a homogeneous country with a very low immigration rate, it's not surprised that the majority of Icelanders are related to each other, and not everyone is close enough to recognize their relatives. Faced with this situation, a research team has created an application called ICELAND app, also known by another interesting name, Anti-Incest app. It uses the resources of Slendinga book. This book is a database records the genealogy of all the indigenous people who have lived in Iceland over the past 1,200 years. As of February 2020, it contained information of 904,000 individuals. The feature is that when 2 people meet and use this app, they just need to touch their phones together, and it will give an incest warning if they have the same ancestor. Immediately after its launch in 2013, Slendinga app had nearly 5,000 downloads and was rated 4.6 out of 5 stars. This proves that It has met the essential needs of the Icelandic people. One user commented, "If I had this app earlier, I probably wouldn't have had sex with my cousin." This is also the end of the story about the interesting things of Iceland. Thank you for your attention and following. What else do you know about Iceland? Share with us. Now, goodbye and see you later in the next section.